This is Hoarding Workflow Illustrator through to Pitstop. Here we have a 6-panel hoarding. Rise and fall is marked by the black key lines. Panel 1 and Panel 6 will need trimming in production. Panels through to Panels 5 can be printed as full sheet. Our picture resolutions, our image is coming in at 368 ppi, 36 at final size. This is not uncommon for hoarding. We target 50 ppi at final size. Practically, if it's below 25, try and get hold of a better resolution, but if the client insists, upscale it. Anything between 30 and 50 ppi, again, mention it to the account manager, but offer a rescaling service. We can reliably get all those kind of images up to 50 ppi, providing the image quality is a decent image. So yeah, mention it to the account manager and see what the client thinks, but usually you'll end up rescaling. Something that's been happening quite a lot on hoarding is when you've got reverse out graphics like this, they've been supplied as PNG files. Problem with that is it's a transparent RGB file in a CMYK environment, and it can mess around with the colour behind the image area. I have been fixing those in Pitstop. If those are low resolution, or if you get JPEG logos that are low resolution, bounce it as early as you can. Tell the designers to redraw them, resupply them, re-res them. You can offer a redraw service, but keep an eye on the deadline, because hoarding deadlines are usually tight. I like to give as much time as I can downstairs and spend as little time in pre-press. So I try not to spend a lot of time drawing logos on hoarding, even though, it's fun. Anyway, to get on with it, let's convert this to artboards. I've already separated out the layers. If I alt-click, I can select the panels layer. I duplicate this because I like to keep the original as a reference. Rename the copy as pagination. Select everything on that layer. Revert the fill and stroke, so you've got black fill, no stroke. It's really important that there is no stroke on these boxes. It sometimes helps to put a much lighter colour in there. It just makes it a bit clearer for later on. Temporarily set the bleed to 5mm. This again is just for clarity. Select our primary panel, go to Object, Artboard, Fit to Selected Art. That's now the correct size. Bleed's wrong, but it's the correct size. Hit Shift O, bringing up the Artboard Manager, and then click on each of the rectangles, which sometimes can be a bit of a fiddle. That's now all the artboards set. Revert the bleed back to our 0.3mm. Turn off the pagination layer, turn on the artwork layer. That is the artwork sorted. At this point, I save a copy called Prod AW, Production Artwork. This means I've got the original design to refer back to, and I've got the paginated copy. Make sure Create PDF Compatible Files is turned off, otherwise it'll take an age to save. Once you've done that, we're pretty good for now going into our production PDF. File naming protocol is key here. We want job number, followed by the identifier for the job. This could be where the hoarding's going, like Warrington Road, or it could be elevation A, elevation B, so on and so on. This gets printed on the bottom of each panel, so it's got to be something that's relevant to the guys on site as well as the guys downstairs in production. Choose our 10 scale settings when they come up, so that's fine. So everything else we're now going to fix in Pitstop. There we are, File Explorer. So if we go into our production file, we now have in here a 6-page PDF. I'm just going to run a pre-flight just to confirm what we already know. There we have, it's telling us we've got an RGB, which we knew about. Well, it's the S1 logo. and we have a resolution issue. Now this flags everything at around about 700 ppi, so it will flag the S1 logo, but because it's over 500 we're going to ignore it apart from the fact it's RGB. This image, this chap here, is coming in at 36 dpi at final size, so we're going to rescale that. So we'll fix both of those. Well, as I've already got it selected, all RGB to CMYK, run that script. That's now fixed the logo. Somewhere down here we have resample. Because we're working at 10th scale, we want to resample that image to 500 ppi. This will just look for anything below 500 and scale it up. And it does a pretty good job. There, it's run. Right, so if I rerun the pre-flight, we're still going to get some errors, but they're excusable errors. So we've got rid of the RGB, and now we can see we've got a minimum resolution of 500, so that's good to print. Let's add these codes into the bottom corners. In our workflow, we have a hoarding folder. 01 adds panel number, 10th scale artwork, bottom left. Don't worry about these settings, and you'll see at the bottom there we've got a panel number coming in, and if I can just get the wonderful zoom tool to come up in Illustrator, in Acrobat, you can see there it's added onto both panels, it's added on the panel number. But we can also see we've got an issue with the bleed here. That on panel 1 we're seeing the photograph, and on panel 2 we're seeing the orange bar. It makes it easier for cutting and installation and everything if we don't get a contrast edge like that. There is an easy fix. If I just zoom back out, didn't really want to zoom out. If I zoom in so we can see our contrasts here. Item 10 in hoarding adds contrast edge. Run. Here we need to specify a panel number, so we're specifying panel 1. We're specifying the right edge of panel 1, and it's taking the photograph off. And if we run it again on panel 2, on the left hand edge, it's sorted out the photo. Come on, zoom out. It's not zooming out. Acrobat can be a bit clunky on the PC. Right, so everything's okay, but we need to merge panel 1 and panel 6 together. Can't do that from a multi-page document of this type, so the first thing we're going to do is extract all of our print ready pages. And I didn't select panel 1, so let's do that again. Into the production folder, select. I usually don't save that, just in case I have to go back and rerun scripts and things. I'm going to create a do not print folder and just drop that into there. That's the original file. Right, we're going to merge panel 1 and panel 6 together. So the first thing I do is on the file names, I rename that 1 to 6, 1 plus 6. It's just a reminder for me. Double click, open up the narrow panel, open up the organized pages, go to the Finder, grab panel 6 and drag it in. So there we have panel 1 and panel 6 together. There's a peculiar thing about the way the script works. You can't add a wide panel to a narrow panel. You can only add a narrow panel to a wide panel, or 2 panels of the same width. So in this case we need to reorder these panels. Do it with a script which is script number 33, and that's basically rotated the whole thing through 180 degrees. It's to do with the way I wrote the script, and yeah, just a nightmare. So once we've still got 2 pages, but they're now in the right order, we can now merge the panels. And this will stick the panels together with a bit of a white gutter and 2 cut lines. Fit width, you can see there that it's come up. What we now need to do is we now need to put the outer cuts on. But before we do that, let's just reorder for merge again, which puts the panel up the right way, which means when they're printing it downstairs, all the panels come through the right orientation. Not massively important, but does help the guys downstairs. Anyway, we need to put the I-cut dots on. So if we go to item 30, full sheet, add vertical center cut lines. What this is going to do is going to give us a small page and it's going to give you a big page. The small page is the 10 scale print file. The big page is the full size cut file for the Kongsberg. Organize pages, set them both, extract pages together into production files, select folder, close that down, again, no point saving it. Go to Finder, we've got a bit of Finder management to do now. That original file, I'm going to put that in the do not print. So that's page 1, that's page 2. These will need renaming. So page 1, get rid of the -1. Page 2, rename it, instead of 2, call it cut. So whoever's on the Kongsberg can find that file. So that's it. That's those 6 pages. Now, what if we didn't want to merge those last 2 pages together? What if there was a reason, like let's say they were both 700mm wide, so you couldn't merge them together, or whatever. This page 6, we still need to give, because it's narrow. This one's 610, 610mm with bleed. The guys are still going to need a cut path for this. Because it's the full height of the sheet, we cannot put a cut path on it because it won't fit on the street with the I-cut dots. So in this case, where you've got a panel that is not full width, just run item 30. And it will take a single panel, it will give you the cut file, which you can organize pages and saved out, and it will give you a single cut file to go down to the Kongsberg. So it's a mixture of looking for panels that you can add together for the yield and looking at instances where you've just got to run and use a whole sheet. So yeah, mess around with that as required. And that is pretty much hoarding. There are a few more bells and whistles, but that will get you through the majority of the work.